Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this 13-inch MacBook Air. This is a 2020 M1 model A2337. Alright, so I've actually already worked on one of these. We're going to be using a Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screwdriver. And we're going to remove all the screws from the bottom. You want to keep them in order. The way I do that, I put them flat side down like this on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So we have this rectangular shape, all right? And this helps me keep track of where the screws came from, okay? Sorry, I'm like trying to do two things at once here. All right. All right, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, so this MacBook Air had coffee spilled on it. So we're going to be taking it apart and seeing if cleaning out the coffee will help. It did appear that the charge ports got damaged. I actually opened the cover a little while ago just to take a quick look. Alright, we're going to grab here now and then we're going to kind of just wiggle this as we pull, and there we go. Okay. You can see there's some coffee in here. We're gonna have to disconnect the battery. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom in here for you guys. All right, man, people keep messaging me and it's making this zooming not work. All right, so we're gonna flip this latch up here. So just like this, I get underneath with my fingernail and pop it up like that. This connector, the way it goes in, it kind of slides in and out at an angle. So I don't know if you can see, but okay, here you go. So you can see it kind of goes in. There's this little L, or it looks like a little shoe or something, but it hooks in like this. All right, it goes at an angle, and then once it hooks in, it goes down like that, and this latch holds it in place. So what we do is we take this latch out. Usually it like naturally will just go up and out like that, and that's how you disconnect the battery. Once you've done that, to be safe, you do want to drain any residual power from the computer. So you want to open it up and then press and hold the power button for about 15 seconds. This will make it a lot safer to work on, especially since we're going to be taking the entire motherboard out. Okay. This one, they have some color changing boba thing. It's kind of cool. And all these Mac shortcuts. But anyways, all right. So I think I already held it more than 15 seconds. We're not going to completely take apart everything unless we need to. It looks like the liquid residue and damage is, you can see here. There's some stuff here. But yeah, it's all kind of contained to this area. So hopefully nothing is completely fried. Their MacBook does randomly turn itself off and on. But we're going to try and get this out. This is the motherboard, and then the speaker we'll probably take out as well. But this part is the heat sink for the CPU. CPU is under here, and then it just runs along here to kind of spread the heat out. All right. And if I remember correctly, I might not even need to remove the fingerprint cable, so I'll leave that there. Okay. We're going to need a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver and a T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver, I believe. I don't know if we'll need a T4. Possibly we might. But let's go ahead and get these. Okay, so I got the T3, the T5. Let me get a T4 just to test here, because sometimes Apple likes to be sneaky and use slightly different. Okay, no. All right, so we're going to first remove these screws here. Okay, so using the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver. Again, you want to keep all the screws in order. Okay, so I'll remove these two. And because I'm not removing the speakers from this side, I might actually, well, we'll see. I might have to, but I'm hoping not. I think the battery's probably okay. It might just be the charge port area that's bad. So we're going to pull this out because their charger was working okay. All right, we're going to pop this connector up as well. I just used my fingernail. You can use plastic pry tools, but you can see you just pop it up like that. Okay, we're going to now use a T5 or Torx 5 screw. Actually, let's go ahead and remove these two screws first, since we still have the T3 screwdriver in. Okay, so remove those. Of course, you also want to make sure to keep yourself grounded. Very basic computer stuff. I'm actually just touching my metal desk to keep the static from building up. All right, now that we removed those two, let's go ahead and pop this out. All right. Oh, the coffee made it stuck. actually get a little water in there to kind of help scrape it up. Let me try and scrape this thing off. Yeah, the coffee, I think, made that stuck on there. So I've worked on one of these models before. I am gonna have to rinse that off and see if we can clean off that coffee. But yeah, I did work on one of these before. I think it was a different color though. And we're gonna pop this connector off. All right, same thing. I just use my fingernails. Doesn't look like it's damaged, but there is like coffee and stuff all in there, as you can see. It looks like to remove those, we're gonna have to use a pentalobe, probably pentalobe 0.8 or P2 screwdriver. Let me see here. Is that right? Let's twist by hand. Yeah, it might. I don't know. It looks a little bit larger than that, but let's go ahead and remove those 2 screws. Actually, do we have to remove those? Maybe not. We'll remove it anyways. Okay, so we're going to remove that. It's a pentalobe 0.8 or P2 screwdriver. Okay, depending what set you got. If you're using the iFixit bits, they actually call it P2. All right, we're going to now switch over to a T5 or Torx 5. Right, and let's go ahead and remove these 2 screws here. I didn't remove this in the other one that I worked on, so we'll see. Because there's liquid damage, it might be stuck in there. So let's see, will it come out? Yeah, I don't know. The liquid damage might make it kind of glued in there. All right, let's go ahead and take the rest of this out first. So we're gonna take out the trackpad cable. Or not completely remove it, we're just gonna lift it to get it out of the way using the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver again. Okay. All right, got those out. Then we can go ahead and remove this metal plate. Same thing, just using my fingernail, pop that connector out. You might have to go on both sides, and you can see now it comes out of the way. There is some adhesive down here, so if you're going to pull this, you want to be very careful, because if you just pull from up here, you can tear this. So if I peel this off, I try and get as close as I can and try and pull both at the same time. But yeah, we're going to leave that there. We don't need to take that out. Okay, again, we're going to switch now back to the T5, Torx 5. And let's go ahead and start removing the screws holding the motherboard in place. So we got these 2 screws. Oh, I am forgetting another piece that I need to remove, but we'll do that after we get these out. Okay, so we got that screw, this screw. Again, hopefully you guys are keeping track of where all the screws are coming from. Got this screw here. All right, and we got this big one here. Okay. All right. And then we got 2 screws over here. And this laptop or this MacBook actually doesn't have too many screws holding the motherboard down. So in that sense, it's kind of nice. But we do have to disconnect a bunch of cables here. So we're switching back to the T3 or Torx 3. Let's go ahead and disconnect the LCD or LVDS connector here. Okay, got this screw here. And this screw right here. Alright, now that we got those 2 out, we'll take this out. And then we're going to pop this connector up. This is the LCD LVDS connector. Okay, and then we also got to disconnect the wireless antennas. Because the wireless antenna board also has liquid on it, we can actually take that out and clean that up as well. The thing with the wireless antennas, they don't really have much in there that can get damaged by liquid, so they're most likely fine. But anyways, let's pop the antenna connections off, just like this. At this point, you can actually remove, well, there's a couple more connectors we have to disconnect, but those are all the screws holding the motherboard down, or the logic board. Okay, we're going to get this connector out. So I'm going to use this little plastic thing to peel up this tape. Actually, let me zoom in a bit more for you guys. Okay, so we're going to peel this plastic up and pull that out of the way. Okay, you have to peel it off because it's stuck covering this connector here. Once you do that, you can flip that latch up. All right, and after you flip that up, you can actually pull this connector out. All right, I think this is for the microphone, not 100% sure. All right, then we're going to go ahead and pop this connector out. Usually I'll just kind of use my fingernail and get as close underneath the connector as I can, and then pop that up like this. If you don't have fingernails, of course, you can just use a thin plastic pry tool that can get underneath. And the best way to get under there, let me see if I can show you here, is if you get the tool kind of under this groove here, because as you can see, it kind of extends out further on the sides. So you want to get into the center, and then you can pop it up like that. But there we go. All right, let's zoom out again. Okay. All right, so now we should be able to lift the motherboard out. I'm going to start from the heatsink part over here. Okay, there's some dust over here. Let's get that stuff out. Okay, so we're going to start over from the heatsink side here and carefully lift. I'm going to grab from both sides here, and you want to be careful because all the connectors are on top, can get in the way, so you kind of want to pull them aside. And what we're going to do, we're going to rotate the board, okay, so that this side comes up. Again, get these stuff out of the way, and then we can slip this out just like that. Oh man, okay, so there is some liquid damage here. I don't know if it's fried, but that looks kind of bad, as you can see. Okay, so I'm going to try and clean that off. I'm going to use some warm running water, scrub it, and I have an electric air blower that I'll use to completely dry it out. But yeah, I'm going to clean this out as well, and hopefully this connector here isn't toast. But yeah, and hopefully nothing underneath this is damaged, because there is some liquid on it and this thing is soldered in place. I can't remove that. All right, we're going to set that aside. And again, the wireless antennas do appear to have stuff on it, so let me see, maybe I should pull the wireless antennas out. I've done this before on some models because I had to replace the screen. We're using the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay, and let's go ahead and just get these screws out. So there's 2 screws on either side of these wireless antennas, and we're also going to have to remove the 2 black screws that are in the center of this LCD board cable thing, whatever you want to call it, the LCD controller, I guess. All right, so we'll remove these 2. It also, this is also for the camera, so keep that in mind. If that's damaged, you might also mess up the camera. Okay, we're not taking the screen out, but again, I do have videos where I do take the screen out on these models, so if you want to watch that, yeah, I have a video of that. You don't actually have to remove the motherboard or the Logicboard to get the screen out, so yeah, keep that in mind. All right, so now that we got that, we're gonna try and lift this wireless antenna board out. This can be somewhat tricky. Let me see here. Usually what I do is I kind of grab in the middle. Did I remove all the screws holding this in place? Oh, actually, I don't think I needed to remove these screws in the middle. But okay, I'm gonna get underneath here if I can. So I'm trying to get underneath with my fingernail under this gap, and it kind of has some clips that hold it in place, so it's gonna be a little tough to get this out. Let me see here. If you can, you kind of want to try and pinch both like this and pull it up, but I don't know, it's stuck really strong here. I think the liquid might be contributing to that. So let's go ahead and try this side because there's less liquid stuff here. Wow, this side's holding really strong too. Okay, so how can we get this up? Oh yeah, I remember. What I did before is I get underneath this, okay, because normally I don't remove the Logicboard. So what I did before, I was like getting underneath this piece here. This is plastic here. I get underneath there, and then I kind of use that to kind of lift it, but it's really tough. So let me see if I can do it with this tool here. Okay, underneath, and we use that to kind of like pop it up. Okay, I don't know why it's holding so strong now, but this thing really doesn't want to come out. Okay, come on, keep wiggling it. Oh, it's coming up. Okay, there we go. So we wiggled it, and while kind of prying under there, and you can see now this is kind of more loose. Okay, I don't know, oops, you can see that it's coming out. We're going to go to the other side and kind of do the same thing. So let's see, I'm going to try and get this tool underneath if I can, And while we're kind of doing that, we're kind of wiggle this. Okay. See, I might have to use my other hand because I'm left-handed. So let's try and wiggle this while we're kind of prying it up. And hopefully it will eventually pop out. It is coming out. Okay, and I think the liquid damage is contributing to it being extra difficult. You can hear, yeah, it's stuck to that thing. Wow, okay. Sorry, I know I'm probably not filming too well because I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing, not on the recording, but there we go. Okay, so we hear the liquid is actually pulling up. Okay, let's get this one back out because it's sticking back down a little bit. And all right, now that we got both sides up, we should be able to kind of wiggle it and pull it, and it should pop out. Is there something else holding it? There shouldn't be. Come on, what is holding this? Okay. Anyways, this board, as you can see, the screen cable just comes out like this. So it's not really affecting that, but it's like clipped down really strong on the front here. So I'm gonna run along underneath here and try and pull that up. And we're kind of getting it, but it's still clipped in really strong. So we're gonna kind of keep working our way over and wiggling this. Not missing anything, right? There's nothing there. I think it's just the clips here. Yeah, so the clips actually go under to this. So it actually clips right here, and this part extends out. So if you can grab this and pull that, oh, that made it actually way easier. Okay, there we go. And then we just thread this thing through. And here you can see how the clip mechanism works. All right, it has these little bumps in it, and the thing runs along the center and it squeezes in the middle. So this further that way, and this is further that way, and then in between that thing runs. All right, and as you can see, there's not really anything in here to get damage from liquid. Let me see if I can show you this. Okay, so I'm gonna clean this off on the top. I guess some coffee did get in here, so maybe I'll clean that out and then dry it up. But yeah, I'll just use some warm water, dry it up. You can actually see there's a little bit of coffee that got to that spot. Hopefully nothing damaged the cable here. Some coffee did get to it, so I'm a little worried there. There's some coffee there and there. But yeah, I'm gonna use some water, paper towels, and just wipe it up, and hopefully we can get it good to go. Let's see if we can get this one board out. All right, so I'm just gonna kind of pull on it. Oh yeah, okay, it's coming out. And yeah, we didn't need to remove those two screws there, so I'm gonna put those two back. Those are the P2 or Pentalobe Pentalobe 0.8 screwdrivers or screws. So I'll put those back. We will clean it off with some warm water, but it looks like we didn't need to remove those. Okay. And I don't think cleaning this will help, but we'll try. Otherwise, we're probably gonna have to replace it. You can see the pins, two of them in the same spot, are kind of looking bad, that one and that one. I know some of you guys don't like to see my nails, and I know there's gunk under it, but whatever. All right, so I'm gonna clean these up and we'll see if we can get them working. I have my doubts, but yeah. All right, and then the only other thing is this speaker here that looks bad. Hopefully the battery is okay. Let's go ahead and remove the speaker. So if you've watched my other video, the way you remove the speaker, it has a stretch adhesive, so we're gonna have to peel this up here. Okay, and once you peel this up, this adhesive comes out by stretching. You want to be very careful because this adhesive is pretty thin and fragile, so if you just pull really hard, it's going to end up breaking. So what you do is you want to pull it a little bit, and then just very slowly keep pulling it. And then I like to use my finger to kind of push it down because it works better when you pull it straight back. Okay, but you want to go very slow at the beginning. Okay, I'm going very slow, and my finger is slowly sliding back as the adhesive comes out. Okay, but again, you want to do this very, very slow. If you go too fast in the beginning, it will tear. Sometimes even if you're careful, it will tear. But yeah, I don't know. I hate this kind of adhesive, especially when they do it this way. Okay, so now as you can see, it's coming out faster. As I pull with my finger, you can see it's sliding back a lot quicker. And that's how you know, that's how fast the adhesive is coming out. So I'm using my finger to help push it down and pull it back at the same time. Okay. And my other hand is just constantly pulling to keep it stretched. All right, so we're just going to keep going. Just like this. Again, you don't want to try and rush it. Just go with the natural speed of the adhesive going. You don't want to try and pull it faster or anything like that. Okay. I know it's a long, tedious process, but that's what you got to do. All right, you don't want to just yank it out. Okay. And you don't want to rush this. When you start getting close to the end, it helps to kind of pinch the adhesive. Okay. And I'll show you what I mean when I get closer to the edge. Okay. So since we're getting closer, it helps to kind of pinch with your thumb as you kind of pull it out. So I kind of pinch it towards my thumb, and that way when it reaches the end, it's not just going to slingshot and then stick to itself. We're going to try and reuse the adhesive if we can, so we kind of want to keep it intact if possible. Okay, so we're going to just continue pulling like this. Alright, keep going, keep going. We're almost there. This thing is really long. It's probably like 2 feet now, the way it is stretched out. Okay, so keep that in mind. It's not going to stay really short. Okay, and now we're at the end. So as you can see, I kind of grab it and then I can let it stretch back together. And there we go. All right, so now we're just going to stick this somewhere out of the way. Okay, we're going to reuse this again later. Okay, I think we need the T5, or actually T3 if it's like the other one I worked on, the Torx 3. And we're going to remove the one screw here. Oops. Drop the adhesive. Okay, let me make sure the adhesive stays intact. I don't want it to fall. Okay. T3. Yep, Torx 3 screwdriver. And you could actually also remove that screw before removing the adhesive, but it doesn't really matter. And now we can remove this. And also you can replace or remove the speaker before you work on the rest. Okay, so the microphone looks like it might have gotten some liquid on there. So there you can see there's the microphone in there. And it looks like there might have been some residue there. So we're going to use a little warm water on a paper towel. If you do that, you want to squeeze the paper towel and make sure no liquid remains on it. But I'm going to clean this off and clean this off. And we'll clean the motherboard and everything. And hopefully the computer will be working okay after that. I have a feeling we're going to have to, at the minimum, replace these charge ports, but we'll see. If we're lucky, maybe these will work again. All right, so I'll see you guys once I've got it cleaned up, and yeah, see you in a bit. All right, so I've been just cleaning up all this area over here, okay? There's some residue kind of trapped there, so I kind of just want to clean it up, make it look nice. Okay, so we cleaned all in there. We cleaned on the board here. Oh, there's still some up here. So we're kind of just trying to clean off what we can. Okay, looks like that came out. Cleaned underneath here. We cleaned underneath all the cables over here. Okay, hopefully everything will be good afterwards. We cleaned up all in here and in these little grooves all over here. Okay, I do need to dry out the other components, but we cleaned out pretty much all the residue, so we should be good to go. Okay, all right. Cleaned off all this stuff. I do need to dry it up a bit more, but you can see this is a lot better. You don't actually see the burned part on those pins. So we'll see if this somehow survived. There is one pin that looks pretty bad over there. Okay, cleaned up all the stuff on here. Again, I do need to dry it out, but you can see we don't have that residue stuff all over it anymore. And the speaker, of course. Oh, it's really windy outside. We cleaned that up. Okay, and got this. All right, so we cleaned all of that up. You can see there's no more coffee residue up there. We are gonna have to dry it. And we cleaned up this part of the board. All right, you can see there's no more of that brown stuff that was there before. Before there was like stuff like coffee like dried up or burnt on there, but you can see it looks good now. All right, so I'm gonna dry these up and I'll be back. All right, see you guys in a bit. Oh, and also we cleaned this. I need to stick that little plastic piece back on here. It came off, but yeah. All right, I'll see you guys once I got it all dried up and back together. All right, so I'm back. We got everything dried up. Let's go ahead. We're gonna now be reassembling. Okay. There's no particular order. This thing. Oh, we also got this thing back on, but it's a little bit bubbly. All right. Anyways, let's go ahead and put this thing back together. So I guess we can put the, if we want, we can put the motherboard back first, because that would be easiest. Actually, let's put the motherboard. Let's put this first, just in case. Okay, so we'll put the charge port stuff back in first. So this goes at an angle, slots in. Okay, pretty simple. Now that there's no liquid stuff holding it down, I'm gonna actually use the charger to hold it, help hold it in place. Okay, so I'm gonna actually hold this, and we'll plug in a charger, and you can see it pushes itself back. So I'm gonna plug it like that. Okay, and I mean, you don't need to use the charger to do that. I'm just doing that so to make sure it plugs in right. Okay, I'm gonna get the two screws here. Get that one in. All right, now we can kind of do the same thing with this side. Plug that in to hold it into place. And then I try and pull it a little bit back to make sure it's pulled as close to the case as possible. And we'll tighten that screw in. And there we go. All right, so we got this in. Next thing, we can put the wireless antenna. I'll do that first, though it doesn't matter. You can put the wireless antenna afterwards. But I'll do that just because that's how we took it out. So it's kind of making it, if you're in that situation, you can see how to get it all back together. So we thread this screen cable through. Okay. All right, make sure to get it all the way in. And then we're gonna have to get this lined back up. All right, that's the little bit tricky part because you want to get everything into place. Okay, and this has to get lined up, as the side ones need to get lined up as well. All right, so once you get that all lined up, it helps to kind of use some tool or something to help push that in. Let me see if I can see this without getting in your guys' way. Actually, my head's probably gonna get in the way. Let me see. So this has to go in that little notch down there, and this has to go in that little notch down there. So these all have little grooves that they kind of line up into, and you kind of want to get it into there. Okay, and this can be a little tricky. It might actually work best if you use like a pencil eraser or something, the back of a pencil eraser. Not the back of a pencil eraser, a pencil eraser. Okay, so that way you can kind of like push it all in at once. Let me see, I'm gonna use a tool that's rounded. Okay, so I'm just gonna use this, and that will probably help me push it down easier. Okay, because it's flat. But again, you can use like a pencil eraser to do this. Okay, and you can see now it's actually held in strong again. Good, that's what we want. Okay, so should be holding in. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and put the screws back over there using the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay. Again, we had 2 screws on each side, so we'll get that. I like to loosely fit them first just in case things aren't lined up, but it looks like they're good. All right, let's go ahead and tighten that in. And tighten that in. Good. If you're wondering, this little cable here, that's for the fingerprint or Touch ID. All right, and you got this separate board for the headphone jack, and the speaker connects to that. And in my other video, I actually showed how to remove that, so if you need help or you can't find it, feel free to post in the comments section below and I'll forward you the link. Okay. All right, loosely fit those. Let's go ahead and get the screws over here first. Okay, loosely fit it, and that last one here. Tighten that down, good. Tighten that down. All right, you can go ahead and now tighten these down. There we go. All right, everything's good, tightened into place. Next thing, okay, I mean, we can put the speaker first. I'll put the speaker first just so you can kind of see how everything goes together, or how the motherboard would come out if you didn't remove the speakers. Okay, so the speaker looks like this. We had the adhesive. Let me get the adhesive strip back. Okay. So the adhesive strip was like this. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stick that back on there, okay? Just like that, okay? In the center, we're gonna flip this over and we're just gonna put this adhesive back up there. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered or anything like that, and it doesn't have to be all within this spot, but as long as you kind of just get it there, because when you stretch it, it's gonna release again just like before. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, we're gonna guide this in at an angle like that. Okay, make sure to keep this bottom side up because you don't want the adhesive to stick yet. And then make sure the screw hole lines up over here. All right, and slowly drop it. I'm pushing it against the wall over here, and then you can kind of push it down. But let's go ahead and use the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver to get the speaker screw back in. Make sure it's lined up. Okay, you can see it can kind of move around, so you want to make sure to get it in properly. Come on. There we go. Get that in. Okay. Make sure it's good. All right. And actually, it doesn't need to go all the way to the edge, so you can have it out a little bit here. Just line it up how the other one was, and then you can go ahead and push that down. Make sure it's nice and solid, and you can see now it doesn't move anywhere. Okay. All right, what do we got now? We got the motherboard. Let's get all this dust out. All right, so we got the motherboard or Logicboard, whatever you want to call it. It actually is called the Logicboard now because the memory and the SSD, the RAM, is all soldered to this board. Okay, so we're going to go in at an angle like this and also under like this. So the first thing we have to do is get it underneath these wireless antennas here. Okay, so you can kind of hold the wireless antennas up out of the way. And then we're going to slide it over to the right. Okay, working our way over. And then we got to get all these cables out. That's the trickiest part. And the way you do that, I just use a little tool. You can use like a toothpick or whatever works for you, something that doesn't conduct electricity. And we're just going to pull these out. Okay, and the battery one is the one that's probably should have done first. But there we go. Okay, once you get that, you can get these back out. You can drop it into place, and you can see it falls in pretty nicely. Okay. All right. Next, I'm going to take the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver again. get everything lined up. This can be a little tricky. All right, and what we're gonna do first is we're gonna get these screws in. Okay, and I'm gonna loosely fit them first. We're gonna tighten them all down later. All right, so get that screw in, that screw in. All right, we're gonna work our way over here. Get this screw in. Again, I'm just loosely fitting these right now because I want to make sure everything lines up first. And we're going to reconnect everything before we actually tighten all the screws down to make sure everything is lined up. Okay. All right, and this one. Okay. All right, we got all the screws in, but they are loose so that the board can move a little bit. And what we're gonna do, we're just gonna reconnect everything now, okay? All right, so we're gonna line this speaker connector up and just push that, clicks into place. This one, it helps to kind of look from the side or the top to kind of try and get it lined up. You might have to kind of bend the cable a little bit by kind of, by kind of like pushing it around like this. Okay, let's see, it's hard to get this in camera, but I'll do what I can because I'm trying to see what I'm doing and it's hard to do it while watching the camera. Let me see here. So this one, okay, this connector goes around the outside of the other one, so get it all lined up and then just click it in. Good. Okay, oops, sorry. We can actually put this little bracket back first. And all of these, oh, I forgot to clean this one. Let me clean this real quick because I don't want this brown stuff to be there, and I'll be back. All right, I'm back. So it didn't clean off completely, as you can see, but it is a lot better than before. Okay, we're gonna put this back on. And again, we have to use the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver for this. And I like to loosely fit the screws first to make sure everything's lined up. Okay, just like with the motherboard. So one screw, then we can line this up. Second screw, and then tighten that down. Tighten that down. All right, what do we got next? Let's go ahead and get the microphone connector. At least I think this is a microphone connector. Back in. Make sure those latches are up. We're gonna have to, this adhesive kind of stuck to it. Oops. So you gotta peel that off again. Okay. Get that lined up. Hopefully you guys can see, and then pull that into place. All right, and then to latch this, you kind of just slide your finger over the latch. You don't want to use a tool to push on it because a lot of people snap it off. I just slide my finger over like that, and then you can go ahead and put that adhesive thing back down. Okay, wireless antennas here. Get that lined up. I know it's kind of difficult to see, but hopefully you got it. Okay, and you want to make sure these are 100% lined up. The way you know is if you try and move it around, it stays in place, then you can go ahead and pop it down. All right, you can actually hear it click. Okay, same thing with the other side. And then click it. There we go. Make sure it's clicked in all the way. Looks good. Okay, let's go ahead and put that metal bracket back on top as well. Okay, this one, it has this metal piece that sticks out and that goes towards the back. Okay. All right, get that screw in. Okay, switch my screwdriver. We should be still using, okay, the T3. Okay, and then get that all lined up. And tighten this down. All right. Get everything lined up. Good. All right. Next thing, we got the trackpad, touchpad connector here. Make sure that's lined up. Okay, this can't, oops, sorry. This can also be a little tricky. I don't know how I'm going to show this on camera, but just get it lined up and then click it into place. Okay, hopefully self-explanatory. Dust and stuff in here. Okay. Same thing. Let's get this metal plate. Okay, get that. Get the screw lined up and get that in. Okay, second one. Line this up and get this screw in. Good. And tighten this one in. All right, there we go. Next we have the LCD LVDS connector. Make sure to get this in. Sometimes, again, you do have to like pull it downwards. It's difficult to see, and if I'm trying to get in camera, it's even worse. But do what you can. Let me see here. It's hard to see what I'm doing and get this in camera. There we go. Oops, sorry. I don't know if you guys even saw that, but all right. It's very important that you don't plug in the battery until last. Okay. All right. Make sure that's all good. And the one thing I'm a little worried is if the charge port's bad, I'm not going to be able to turn this computer back on until I replace it, because the MacBooks, they require you to plug in the charger before it will power up. So, all right, get that in. Again, I'm loosely fitting the screw first to make sure everything's lined up. And we'll tighten this down. All right. Then we got the last one over here. That connects the board over to this board to the motherboard. Okay. Get that lined up and click that in. Good. Okay. We'll now get this on top. One screw up here. Sounds like I got a package delivered. Okay, then we got two more screws, so we'll get this one lined up. Get this into place. Alright, now that that's lined up, I'm going to just tighten those. Okay, and the last screw. Alright. We're going to double check all these screws again just to make sure everything is tightened into place. Looks good. Alright. Alright, let's go ahead and now switch back to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Actually done with the T3 for now, so we'll put that away. Let's go ahead and double check all these screws. Okay, everything should be lined up, so let's go ahead and tighten this down. And if you're wondering, on the bottom of the motherboard are the springs and screws to get the heatsink off if you're planning to redo the thermal paste, but we weren't doing that. So all right, let's go ahead and get all these tightened down. Good. And good. All right. Everything's now tightened back into place. Okay, so all that's left to do now is put back on or reconnect the battery and then plug it in and hope we got the computer working 100% again. All right, so we got the little shoe part. You got to pull the battery slightly forward, hook those in, push it down, okay, and then latch this metal part back down. Okay, helps to kind of use your fingernail and pop that, and there we go. Okay, let's zoom out again. We're gonna put the bottom cover back on. So yeah, then usually I like to, if I can, do a PRAM and SMC reset, but I think on this model it doesn't do that, but we'll try. All right, let's get this cover back on, and then we'll get all the screws in. But other than that, that's pretty much all there is to it. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, so I plugged it in. I feel the clicking, so that's a good sign. That means the charge port is working. Apple logo is on. I will try a PRAM reset, but I don't think it's going to work. I know SMC reset won't work on here. But anyways, here you can see it's on. It's charging, so I'm going to restart the computer. And then while it's booting up, I'm going to do Command Option PNR once I see the Apple. Actually, I'll do it right now and see. So usually the way you know the PRAM reset works is you'll actually see the screen go off while it's going, but as you can see, it didn't. So yeah, so I don't think it's going to do a PRAM reset. So I think we should be good to go. We're just going to put back all the pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screws, and that should be it. So let's go ahead and switch back to the screwdriver. Okay, and looks like it's good. Before it kept like shutting itself off, so we'll see what happens. I'm gonna have to probably ask them for the password to log in and do some tests, but other than that, it looks like we're good to go. I'm gonna try plugging in the charger all 4 ways. So basically test both sides and also flip the plug over, because sometimes it'll work one way but it won't work the other way, because the pins might be burnt. If you remember, one of the pins on this looked like it was burnt. So we'll see. I think probably one port in one what do you call, one way plugged in one orientation won't work, so we'll see. Alright, so let's get the last few screws in. Okay, so there we go. Let's go ahead and flip this thing back over. Alright, it's still on. That's a good sign. Keyboard is working. I mean, trackpad, of course, is working. I used it to restart, and that's working. Brightness controls are working. Yeah, so I think we should be good to go. Oh, volume even works. I'm surprised, because usually these Macs don't like using those. Okay, let's see. This side's charging as well. I'm going to flip the charger upside down, and we'll try. It's working that way, and it's working that way. So it looks like we're 100% good to go. I'm going to charge up their Mac. We'll see. Hopefully it will charge up 100%. But that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. All right, let's drop this spike.